Alrighty, hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I am Joshua. This is
Christina. Hi guys.
Yeah, so today we are in chapter 9 of our Getting the Love You Want book. This is my first time that I'm going to go over and show it to you guys by Dr. Harville Hendricks. And like I said, we're on chapter 9, and the name of the chapter is Increasing Your Knowledge of Yourself and Your Partner. And our lovely quote for today is actually found in John chapter 8, verse 32. He quotes the Bible today. So that is, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Awesome. So yeah, this was probably one of the longest chapters we have read, and it's getting into the nitty and gritty of really looking at hard, long look at ourselves in relation to our partners, and it goes into certain principles of communication, like the things that we find in a partner to blame, the certain complaints and criticism, how they're reflecting back stuff about us. It's almost like illuminating blind spots about each other. So it's very important. We are gonna go over those 3 principles. And the biggest thing of this chapter is also practicing a communication tool that supposedly it bridges any kinds of conflict and creates love and affinity. So you can easily restore love and affinity in your relationship, even in the midst of the hardest conflict, the most uncomfortable conversation. And this is the tools that both me and Joshua are practicing. I'll tell you, it doesn't come easy. It's definitely not natural for us, but you know, mastering this tool is going to make a huge difference in a relationship. It already has, and we are going to demonstrate it for you today.
Yeah, and I mean, Christina, with some of the words that she used, just to put it in, if you will, in a nutshell, for those of you who don't really know words in terms of self-development, it's just like really being able to listen to your partner and set aside any kind of natural reactions that come up, or the basic instincts of being angry because of what she said. So it's like really listen, yeah, and like, just like being, that whole realm of things, and just being able to really listen to what it is that my partner's trying to say, and what is it that they're seeing that I'm not seeing about myself that I can grow in.
Okay, so very important. So we're gonna go into the principles. So it's about, once again, as I mentioned, hidden information. There's a lot of hidden information about ourselves in the way we speak about our partner, in the way we think about our partner, in the way we complain about our partner. So number 1 is most of your partner's criticisms of you have some basis in reality. So for example, if I tell Joshua, you're so selfish. So what it says is that what do you see for yourself? That part of it could be true versus like having to... Okay, so the first principle...
Yes, yeah, no, and really, so like if she were to say, Joshua, you're selfish, I'm like, okay, yeah, there is some truth to that. I can be selfish.
Yes, and like, because the first reaction would be like, could be so many things, right? No, I'm not. What about the things that I've done for you? What about when you are selfish, right? We try to deflect complaints. We can't be with complaints. And actually allowing yourself to be with the fact that, well, that annoying, persistent complaint that your partner tells you, like, you're always late, you don't care about me, I don't matter to you, or blah, 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 that you actually can take it on and be with it and look for the situations where... Your hair looks beautiful, babe.
Sorry, guys, I keep messing with my hair right now.
As my girlfriend said, curls for the girls, and that's my hobby.
Okay, I didn't mean to throw you off, so go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, like, do you see, like, for example, it actually has been my complaint of you sometimes. Can you identify the parts of where you're selfish? Yeah,
I mean, and there's, I feel that in any and every kind of criticism your partner makes of you, there is going to be some truth to it. However, the one twist that I see is the depths to which your partner sees it. Like, let's say for Christina, it might be super highlighted. Not saying that it is, but I mean, as we go on with the different principles. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so like,
is there truth for it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. I've already said that, and I'm just like really explaining. And as we start to go on to these other principles, you'll see how that it's not just you in the mix. That there's going to be parts of your partner. But
okay,
we'll get into that for later. For the
you
later
see, he's already
conversation.
deflecting and defending versus being with that criticism.
No, I already accepted it, and I said
well, but you can look and identify the parts of you where it is, and that's all is necessary for the first principle.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said that.
So what parts would they be? Like,
I mean, you just said the selfish, like
right, like where, like, can you see which actions or which behaviors would show that you actually are selfish?
Yeah, absolutely. When I get up to get water for myself and I don't like check in with her, hey, do you want some water? Or if I'm, not cold because I have 3 sweaters on and seen her in only a tank top and like, oh, hey, like, would you like a sweater? Yeah, there's plenty of areas in my life in so many different aspects where I can be selfish. Awesome. Absolutely.
Was there a complaint about me that I can own up to? That I usually like deflect? Or defend?
You're so sensitive.
True. It's so funny because I'm like, no, you're just like wrong about what you do. But yeah, like he's right. Like you're right. Like I think there's a lot of probably small spaces where I overreact that conventionally would be maybe determined, considered as an overreaction, being sensitive. So that's number 1. Number 2, many of your repetitious emotional criticism of your partner are disguised statements of your unmet needs. Thank you. Being Ukrainian, I love having my American husband to correct my pronunciation from time to time.
And only the pronunciation.
Yeah, so repetitious emotional complaints might disguise some truth about you, right? So if I'm complaining about him being selfish and it's a persistent complaint, then what is it really about me? So it goes into, what is it about me that I really need? What is that need that I have not been met in childhood? So let's say if I did not get enough, attention, or if my parents didn't put me first, which I felt was the case, it's almost like, please, I want to matter. Like, I want to matter. I want you to love me. And it's like, I complain that he's selfish, but really my unmet need is that I want to matter and I want to be important and I want to be valued. So it's kind of like breaking down the complaint and looking into what is the need inside of the complaint. What is really the desire inside of that complaint for me? And then trying to really own it and clean that up for myself. That really what it is not that you're selfish, is that I just really need some attention right now. I really need some love right now. Mm-hmm. And just really owning that. So that's number 2. Do you want to take on number 3 and 4?
Yeah, so for number 3, some of your repetitive emotional criticisms of your partner may be an accurate description of a disowned part of yourself. Mm-hmm. And this one, I think I see why she had me take it on. Because if I were to say Christina is sensitive, absolutely, I do see areas of my life where I have disowned my ability to be sensitive and even feel emotions at times. So this one is a screaming one for me. Christina loves to talk about screaming deals and stuff screaming at you, so that's why I said that. Yeah, and just it's just really for an area of myself, obviously growing up, 4 boys, men aren't supposed to feel. Sounds good.
I've been giving him feedback to not be reading a lot when we're making these videos.
I just read it again, but anyways. Okay. So areas, like I said, going back to me being raised with 3 brothers, it's, as a man, we aren't supposed to feel emotions. I'm not supposed to be sensitive. And I do see areas of my life where I've tend to numb that. And when it comes to any kind of reaction, I'm supposed to just ignore it and move on with life. So there's times where I expect the same out of my wife. And as any of you women know, that's not going to fly. And it just never does. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work in our own in the area for ourselves to grow as men, and then also in areas for us to grow as a relationship. So never really ignore your emotions, because it doesn't go anywhere.
Right, and it's so beautiful that you say that, because it's true. It's like I can see the places where you're sensitive, and it's it's kind of like when you say, "Oh my God, she's so sensitive." It's almost like it seems so real and intensified that the other person is, you know, you're not like that. I'm not selfish. Come on, no way. But it's like really when you start looking at it like, oh, yes, you are, and you just disown it. It's like really powerful.
Yep.
And
so, yes, on to principle number 4. Some of your criticisms of your partner may help you identify your own lost self. And once again, this is a good one because he actually goes into saying, like really talking about, can I read that one more time? Identify your own lost self. Yeah, that when I start to like really look at, okay, hey, Christina, you're being sensitive, like, and I start to take that on as, hey, that's really myself that I'm projecting onto her. Like it allows the ability for me to heal in those moments, as well as her to heal and not be as, if you will, needy or sensitive in that time. So it allows us both to heal, and it ends up disappearing that statement that you are sensitive.
So powerful. And what's amazing is that it could be something like you actually want to be like that, but you're kind of jealous and you literally don't even realize it. Like, you know, like it could be something like, wow, you're so like, you're like so outgoing, and like you're like overly sexual, and you're like just so touchy-feely, and you're complaining about it, but really you kind of wish you had it. That's part of your lost self, is that when you were a child, you were free and you were like curious about life and you just did anything. And then like now you're like this limited human being and you complaining about your partner doing these things when in fact you kind of wish you could do it. By you like pointing at them saying, man, like that's messed up that they're doing it. But really is you want to do it yourself. Okay, so those are the 4 principles that are super powerful. I think it's like the nitty-gritty of the book, as I mentioned. And the biggest other chunk of this chapter is actual Imago Dialogue. This is the cornerstone of Imago therapy for couples and marriages. And this is a communication tool for couples.
Okay, but before we move on to that, I just want to kind of wrap up the different phases or principles? The different principles.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if there's a continuing complaint, just really start to investigate it for yourself, because it is going to be one of those 4 principles that has you really has that complaint be persistent. So when you start to really look into and discover for yourself and heal for yourself those complaints, it really does allow the relationship to grow in a whole new way. And it really does allow you to be able to see your partner for who they truly are. And I am actually going to quote Corinthians chapter 13. And it's always it's definitely been my favorite. And I continue to see it on a whole new level. And I shared this with Christina. And it's, first I see but a poor reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. So it's just really being able to not fully see my partner because I'm blinded by all of the images of my past that hold me down. And then there's also that one that's following that is now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And it's just really, to me, I see it as these principles, once they start to disappear those complaints and bring healing for myself, it allows me to see my partner for who she is.
Look at the camera.
Yes.
Okay, I love that you're quoting that. There's so much deep, explosive, bold truth in the Bible and other holy books, and it's amazing to be able to interpret it from this metaphysical perspective. So it's awesome. Thank you, babe. Okay, so Imago Dialogue. It's, as I said, there's different tools in communication nowadays. They call it paraphrasing or different things. I think this is the best, most comprehensive tool I personally ever come across when it comes to communication. And both of me and Joshua, we've done communication courses with Landmark. I know people who've done NLP and paraphrasing, mirroring and stuff like this. This particular one is the only one that I've known that actually restores love and affinity and doesn't just communicate. It actually on the level of heart. And the reason why is because it does include 3 very important components to communication.
Yep. Number 1.
is mirroring. So when you start talking to your partner and we start having a dialogue, it could go one of two ways. It could go in a way where it doesn't go anywhere, really. Your partner starts telling you something and you just start like defending against it. Or it could
They even said it becomes two different people having a monologue.
Literally.
You know, because you're just like, oh, you didn't do this, blah, 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 I'm mad at you. And it's like, no, I did it, blah, blah, blah. And you end up being two different people having their own monologue and you're not even communicating.
Yeah. So, like, what would be let's do an example right now really quick of without this tool. Like, how it would go, like, with the defensive and...
Yeah,
and
why didn't you finish doing the dishes?
Oh, why didn't you finish doing the dishes? Like, why do I have to always do the dishes?
Because it's not always, you don't always do the dishes.
Well, I don't want to do it now. Like, why should I do it? Like, I've been tired. Like,
well, you did some of them. Why didn't you just finish them?
I just don't feel like it's my responsibility. Like,
well, then why'd you start it?
Anyway, you know what? Just if you want to dishes washed, go ahead and wash them.
You guys see how we weren't even talking? So
it sucks. It leaves us both feeling still like shitty, honestly, disconnected. He didn't get his point across. I didn't really hear him. I kind of like, I heard him. I said back to defend myself and my position, and that's it. I mean, you know, that's one way of doing things. And however, you have deviations from them. Sometimes you'll be like, okay, fine. But then you're like still feeling resentful and weird at the end. And it still does not create that love and affinity for a relationship.
Yeah, and one thing also that Harville mentions as well is it's not, your partner isn't looking for an apology or for you to even be like, oh, you know, I'm sorry. Because that doesn't always complete it. You know, it's not a matter of an apology that your partner is looking for. It's a communication that's wanting to be heard.
Yeah.
So that's why when you mirror what this communication is, it allows that partner to be able to hear, oh, yeah, they want me to hear that I didn't complete the dishes.
Because the main call and longing that usually happens inside of a conflict or conversation is that somebody wants to, number one, feel understood and gotten and heard. So it's like all wrapped up. Like, I just want to know that he cares and I matter, and what I'm telling him, he's really getting and hearing and understand how I feel. Okay, this video is getting long, but it's really worth it, guys, because this one tool like literally can save or break your relationship. So that was number one, mirroring. Number two
is validating. And when it comes to validating, it's allowing yourself to get into the world of your partner who has the complaint. And it's validating that and saying, is that right?
Yeah, it's like making sense. Like, what you're saying makes sense. Like,
you
don't have to agree with them, but you have to just allow the fact that they have their own perspective. They have their own reality. We're all in subjective realities. And even though we think, how the hell they would feel like this, that's so wrong, that's not the point. Everything that they are, all of their past have brought them to this moment. And the way they see the situation is a completely different angle than the way you see it. So all you need is to allow them that space for their own reality. So all you need to validate is just pretty much saying, this really like makes sense that you would think this way. And you actually say it and you actually really get that. And
like, let's say she says, oh, you're selfish, you never do the
dishes. Demonstrate.
Okay.
And after we do the 3 steps. Okay.
Okay.
So number 3.
It's your turn because I didn't
is empathy. And that is the biggest one, like, for me. And I think even though they don't like to generalize the genders, but usually it is this way that women care more about empathy and men seem to care more about validation. Since men are so like all about logic, they want their logic to make sense to their partner, and women want their feelings to matter to a partner. On average, like as I said, it doesn't apply to every single couple out there. But yeah, so the third is empathy. Like sometimes, you know, like Joshua can be like, okay, whatever, this makes sense. But if I don't feel like he's getting me where I'm coming from and my frustration or pain about the situation, I still don't feel fully like heard and recreated and complete. And so that third step is really like where the cherry on top, and it's something that we have not really fully gotten from any other work out there, like combining these 3 steps in communication for a perfect dialogue. Yeah,
and it was even one of the examples that Harville gives with his clients was I remember the wife saying that like that was the first time where she felt that her husband got her, and she didn't feel like she was crazy for feeling the way she felt.
Yeah, because all her complaints went to like a wall. Like she didn't feel heard for many, many years. So literally the first time he actually did this process with her, she like broke down on her knees and cried and felt like heard for the first time. I mean, how magical and beautiful it is that we can give each other this gift of like really being seen.
Yep.
So let's demonstrate how the Imago dialogue would work with the same example of you complaining about the dishes.
I don't know how to...
Well, you're complaining, so
okay.
just send the complaint.
Yes, just send the complaint.
Because in this dialogue, we call whoever is talking first or like complaining about something or asking questions, or they would be the sender, and the other person would be the receiver.
Yeah, so why didn't you finish doing the dishes? Or like, why are there still dishes in the sink?
Well, that's more of a question. Do you want to just complain about it? Like,
yeah, you didn't finish washing the dishes. Why can't you ever just finish the dishes?
So, babe, what I'm hearing you say is that, like, it's very I have not finished the dishes, and it seems like I never finish the dishes.
Yeah,
Did I get you right?
Yes, you got it.
Is there more?
Is there more?
That's also very important. Is there more? It's like an aphrodisiac, sexy word, because nobody wants to hear your complaint, right? Like, we live in the world where, like, are you kidding me? Is there more? Like, you actually want to hear me complain more? It's like, it's not even a complaint, but you actually care what I have to say. Excuse me. Yes. So your partner would love to hear that. Like,
so is there more? I'm glad you asked. Yes, there is more. It frustrates me to see dishes in the sink, and then when I see you do them, why don't you just ever finish them?
I get it, baby. It's just so frustrating for you that I leave the dishes in the sink. And why can't I just finish these dishes? Like, I mean, it's frustrating for you to come home again and again seeing these dishes in the sink. Yeah, it is. Okay. Is there anything else you want to say about this?
No, that's it.
Okay, babe, I really get that it's been really annoying and frustrating to you to have all these dishes in the sink. It makes sense to me why you would get so annoyed by it. So number one, I validated him. It makes sense, right? Or you can say, I get it. I get what you're saying. And then you go into empathy. And babe, I mean, this must suck. Like, you come home from work tired, after a whole day of appointments. And, like, it's just, you probably feel like, I'm ungrateful. I can't even do like my part of the thing and just like pull in some effort and do these dishes. Did I get it? Kind of how you feel?
Yes. And at the end of the day, I just want more time to cuddle with you instead of doing dishes.
I get it, baby. And I'm sorry I didn't wash these dishes. I'll definitely keep in mind that to like complete them when I start something. Okay. Okay. I love you, baby.
Love you.
See. So, wow, that took something from me, Like, I just want to be like, fuck, like, I don't want to do this, excuse my French. But what did it create in our relationship? It actually created connection. I allowed him to share more, and once he shared more, he was more open and soft and vulnerable to tell me more. And then I was able to meet him at the level of where he's at. Do I have to agree with this point of... No, I don't. And, ultimately, after I complete that part of the dialogue, I can ask or make a request myself. I can be like, babe, how about on Monday and Tuesday I wash the dishes and the rest of the week you do it, or something. But first I had to meet him where it was. Yep. So anyway, guys, this video is long, but I hope you got a lot of value out of it.
I know you will. And just remember more of the story. I'll bring it in a nutshell. Women do the dishes, okay? That's all we're saying. No. Just kidding. No, really, guys, tell us what you think. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Or if you have any comments, feel free to comment below.
Okay. Love you guys. Have a great week.